Today on Destination Polaris, we head north, way north, to the land of 10,000 lakes and the home of Polaris Industries. Destination Polaris starts right now.
Destination Polaris is presented by Rugged Radios, the authority in communications.
Welcome to Destination Polaris. I'm in the Beltrami National Forest just east of Roseau, Minnesota, and just south of the Canadian border. This area is home to lakes, loons, and Polaris Industries. Welcome to northern Minnesota.
Chances are you've never heard of Roseau, Minnesota. But it was here in 1954 that Polaris Industries was born. 350 miles north of Minneapolis and just miles south of the Canadian border. Roseau is remote.
There's rural and then there's Roseau.
But that means open spaces and endless room to explore. And today, I'm meeting up with a crew of Polaris employees for a little day off. Don't worry, their bosses know where they are.
Okay.
Before we get going, I can't fail to mention one of the many perks of riding with the Polaris staff. Brand new machines.
The machines are so new, they come with the tags on them.
As long as they're not on.
Today, local trail expert Miles Hoganson is leading the way.
A few years ago, we actually joined up with Fort Town Grigla Sportsman's Club and the Roseau Lake of the Woods Sportsman's Club, and we took over this area of the forest, so we're the North Star Trail Alliance. So between all their trailers, our trails, there's a lot of opportunity to go riding.
It's time to make use of Miles' hard work.
All right.
Let's hit the trails.
Let's hit it.
It's pretty diversified, but yet easy riding area. It's nothing too crazy. There's no mountains. There's sand and some rocks, and there's some mud and a lot of flat ground. You ain't gonna find much flatter than northern Minnesota.
Flat, maybe, but there's still plenty to see. Just ask Polaris engineer Rachel Kendall.
We have great scenery in terms of forests, trees, lots of farmers' fields that can look really pretty when the crop's up.
I agree. The views are pretty awesome.
Just sort of wide open spaces and freedom.
Our first stop is Bemis Hill.
All right, Miles, made it to a little rest area. Where are we at?
We're at Bemis Hill, northern Minnesota.
And this is the hill right here, huh?
One of two. We have Bemis Hill here, and we have another one on the Canadian border called Minnesota Hills.
Pretty flat.
Yep, we're flatlanders up here.
It doesn't take long to realize the workers at Polaris are tight-knit.
You know, everyone you work with, you're friends with, you go out after work and ride, you're hanging out with them on the weekends. It's a really fun, family-loving feel.
From husband and wife coworkers
Coordinating the colors today. Yeah.
to best friends.
Yeah, me and Erin met sort of when I first moved here because she was here first.
Our relationship probably started out and is based on riding. We love riding. We love the Polaris product.
She works on the manufacturing side, I'm on the engineering side, so we don't see each other much at work, but we have similar interests with razoring, with snowmobiling, so me and her get out a lot.
We're back at it. And Erin's best friend Rachel is taking me for a spin in the sand pit. Riding in the passenger seat, I'm getting to know my new friends real fast.
Yeah, I am a pretty aggressive rider. I find my fun in the speed, for sure.
It's fun to have somebody like Rachel who is a really great rider and will push you and also help you.
Jeff and Janine Lovell aren't afraid of a little sand either.
It's pretty amazing. My wife really likes the outdoors too. Our first date, actually, was at Bemis Hill, and it was on an ATV.
I don't know about everyone else, but I'm beat. Time to head back to camp.
It was hot. It was fun. Ready to wind it down here by the campfire, hang out. Some good people, good friends, good times.
More from northern Minnesota when Destination Polaris returns.
Destination Polaris is sponsored by Rugged Radios, the authority in communications. Walton's, everything but the meat. Polaris Lubricants, the only oil developed with and for your Polaris engine. And by Full Throttle Battery, the one that works.
Welcome back to Destination Polaris. Day one in Roseau was a blast. Today we're back in the Beltrami Island State Forest for some more of what we like to call research and development.
Beltrami State Forest is pretty interesting. It's kind of different from anything I've usually ridden. It's you got a mixture of sand and some rock and some old lake bottom.
Although none of my new friends actually grew up in Roseau, they did grow up with Polaris.
Quite a long story for me. I told my parents when I was 12 years old I wanted to design and build snowmobiles for Polaris. So moving to Roseau, designing snowmobiles, it's kind of been my lifelong dream, and it's really awesome to finally achieve that.
I grew up on snowmobiles. My dad was always a Polaris guy, and it just sort of got me interested in the company, and I just really like their product.
I've spent my whole life riding Polarises, ORVs, snowmobiles. The other thing I knew is I wanted to move to a little bit more fast-paced industry, and that's power sports. Everything's fast-paced, it's fun, it's exciting.
While most people try to leave work at work, Polaris employees prefer to take work home with them. Who better to ride with than the people who build the machines?
It's very cool to get out here and see what the Razor group's doing, what the General group is doing, and then send that feedback across to the different teams and work with those teams to make our products better.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
So we needed to make sure that it was easy to insert for the line.
From what I've gathered, the lady engineers of Polaris never really stop working.
So the fuel tank has to go in.
It's really good to go out and ride the product because you learn what needs to be changed. You have to do a lot of leak testing, like on the engine side as well. But then it's also really fun to see your teams, all of your ideas and designs come together in one great package where you can just get out and have a really good time all weekend.
Midway through our ride, we stop for a lesson in Roseau history.
All right, Jeff, we made it to the town, the big metropolis of Winter. Tell us what we're looking at here.
So what we're looking at here, this is a historical site. This was a settlement in the early 1900s, and they had a farm here, and they built this silo, and so the silo is 120 years old probably.
I saw also some signs. There's like a post office sign. So this must have been like, Winter must have been a little town then, right?
There was a community, and you'll see along the trail, you'll see where people homesteaded different parts of these properties. Pretty primitive, and you don't see silos like this anymore.
But it must have been well done if it's still here. So I don't know, maybe we should take notes.
It was built in the past, it's gonna last.
Yeah, it's really cool because there's not a lot of history. I mean, in America, history isn't really that well preserved, but it's amazing, even in this small community, the pride that you guys take in.
You have people that are involved with the Historical Society. They maintain these properties and they keep them up because they want to hold on to that history.
Yeah.
The Winter Silo is a really good place to take people and just have a picnic and sort of be together, riding and outside.
After the silo, the crew and I head back into the forest. After a long day of riding, most of the group is calling it a night. But the girls and I aren't done adventuring.
When you find yourself in the land of 10,000 lakes, sometimes you're on the dirt, sometimes you're on the water. It's kind of like it's like a shoot. It's amazing.
Okay, that looked way easier than what we're doing over here.
Whatever, look, this is graceful.
There we go. Quick launch.
The Roseau area may not have a lot of lakes, but Hayes Lake is the perfect backdrop for a quintessential Minnesota evening. The Polaris experience continues when Destination Polaris returns.
Destination Polaris is sponsored by Aluma Trailers, ready to ride when you are. Cormark Metals, where technology and creativity meet. And by RZ Mask, breathe safe.
Welcome back to Destination Polaris. For over 65 years, Roseau, Minnesota has been home to Polaris Industries. We've explored all the outdoor adventure Roseau has to offer.
But we couldn't come to the home of Polaris and not stop by the Experience Center.
Neat in the design and development.
Who better to get a tour from than the son of one of the founders?
And basically the handlebars back, they're the identical machine.
Okay.
Mike's father, Alan, along with brother Edgar and friend David Johnson, founded Polaris in 1954.
My first memory would probably be going back about 1961. I remember my dad and a friend of his leaving from home. They were headed for a ride out in Maine to prove that these big old machines could actually do what they said they could.
The new world of winter fun and pleasure in the snow.
The machines were made in America then, and they're still made here today.
As Polaris grew, you come into about 1960. They were outgrowing the facility they were in. These other communities at that time had been watching Polaris through the 50s. And the city leaders, the city fathers, and others within the community of Roseau got together and said, no, we want Polaris to stay. They dug out of their own pocketbooks and put money together to help finance the original building of where the manufacturing plant is located today. One of the things that has been special about Polaris, people that are designing and building them use them.
I can attest to that.
Understand the riding experience.
Live the riding experience.
Work to make it better.
At Polaris, progression is everything. But they never lose sight of what's important.
To me, it means that the opportunities are endless. If somebody has an idea, there's really nothing that's out of reach if we work hard enough for it.
Yes, Polaris builds product, whether it's snowmobiles, ATVs, Rangers, Razors, motorcycles. But when you step back, it's all about fun. Polaris. It's about enjoyment. Family fun. It's how do we create that enjoyment, get away from your job day in and day out. How do you relieve that stress? You're on your way. You're heading for a wide world of fun. Get a Polaris. When you talk about product, they talk about the fun they've had on it. Whether they're talking about a 1959 Trailmaster or they're talking about a new 2020. It's the fun, it's the enjoyment that they really talk about.
Back to enjoying the ride when we return on Destination Polaris.
Destination Polaris is sponsored by Polaris Adventures, adventure everywhere. Rockford Fosgate, purpose-built audio. And by Super ATV, the leader in aftermarket parts and accessories.
Welcome back to Destination Polaris. The Polaris slogan is Think Outside.
The filmers will have it.
And after spending a week with a group of Polaris employees, I can say it's authentic to the core.
Off-road vehicles energize me. The power sports industry as a whole energizes me. Truly, anything where I can get outside and I can experience nature is super energizing for me.
I think most people who work at Polaris in Roseau are passionate about the products and they want to be here. They wake up every day and they're like, this isn't just a job, it's fun and it's a career and I want to be here.
Especially in Roseau, because it's such a small town, sort of in its own little area in Minnesota, you really have to have an interest in the outdoors to love this area as much as a lot of us do.
I think it's just, you're up north here. You're out in this stuff all the time. It's a way of life.
Before we end our trip, we take one last stop at another historic landmark.
A lot of times the people will travel from Bemis Hill, like we have, and you come down to Penturin Church. Yeah, there's lots of activities that happen here. There's a church service that happens out here at least once a year. There has been weddings out here.
Such a cool church.
Jeff's wife Janine likes the outdoors and knows all about Roseau history.
And you said it's called Church of the Pines.
Church of the Pines or Penturin Church.
Okay.
So this is the third and final resting spot that this church has taken over the years. As the original homesteaders moved here, they kept moving the church further into the woods. They were clearing the land for egg production and trying to, live and thrive here.
We should probably sign the guest book.
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Honestly, we rode on in there and I just got super excited to be in a new place. My husband and I are just all about adventure and experiencing and finding new places. So that was a lot of fun to be able to learn a little bit more about the history out here.
It's not as easy as it looks.
It's a place, a landmark in history that people could look at and say, hey, this is pretty cool. They're preserving this. It's a neat place.
It's obvious that the people of Roseau are proud of their past. But they're not afraid to blaze new trails. While Roseau may not have mountains or an ocean, everywhere you go, you're surrounded by humble beauty. And the people who live here appreciate it.
I know everyone comes up and it's kind of cliche and they say, this is God's country, but this really is God's country. Almost anything you want to do outdoors, you can do it here. It's just a little bit flatter than a lot of other part of the state.